That is the sound of the jar of names. We should pick out a name. We've got 2 in here, I think. This week, this video is for everyone, including but not excluded to Horia. Right, so back in the jar of names you go. If you want to get in there, comment on Cup of Adventure videos. That's a different YouTube channel. Anyway, welcome to this week's podcast. This is the cup of tea. And this is the podcast. Right, now, as someone mentioned last week, there might not be a skip list there just yet, because there hasn't been in a while. But eventually, sometime in the future, there'll be a skip list in the comment section where you can skip to this week's update, this week's topic, this week's question, and this week's goals. But we're going to start with the update. But first, I want a cup of tea. I've taken a sugar out of my 2 sugars, and it's not as nice. Anyway, so we're still behind, unfortunately. Yeah, we'll just talk about that later. Actually, why am I behind? So I was going to get caught up on Sunday. Why didn't I catch up on Sunday? I can't remember. I think Sunday I just didn't do anything. I was just like having a lazy day. And then from then, it's just nothing's happened. I haven't done anything. No, I don't know why I haven't done it. I'm just bad at keeping up with good stuff. It's one of those things. Once you're behind and you can't catch up. Anyway, my work hours have changed. So I will be working more hours than what I was. But I'll also be working less on one specific day. So that when I get back from that day... as a Saturday, so I'll be able to do stuff after then rather than not. And to be fair, I wouldn't be behind my new schedule type thing, if that makes sense. Like I had a plan to get caught up, and I wouldn't have been behind it if I didn't fall asleep yesterday after work. But I was tired, so I fell asleep and didn't get up, because that's what happens when you fall asleep. Anyway, now we'll go on to topic and get that done. Then so let me load up the list because I haven't got it yet actually. Also, just as another little update before we carry on with the topic, I suppose, I'm thinking podcasts, I think their days are numbered. I'm thinking eventually I'm going to stop doing them. They will still survive in some way on Cup of Adventure, but I think for the moment, I'm going to unofficially say the end of August, because that's what I'm thinking, but it might be longer, I'm not too sure. So podcasts might be a thing of the past, but we'll see how that goes. Obviously, I know that's not going to be a very popular thing, but I think it's the whole format of the podcast. I need to change it up a little bit, which I think is what I'm going to do. I might do something different on Cup of Adventure, which probably mean it'll actually be better than a podcast, but we'll get to that later on. Anyway, so this week we've got the podcast. That's what you're listening to right now. And then after this, we'll have another episode of Dark Chronicle called Story Dump. I'll get a lot of story stuff. I love it. It's great. I love getting stuck into the story. And then after that, we'll also have another Dark Chronicle video called Confirmed Theories. And they're all ready to upload. So then after that, we'll have another Fable 2 video called Get Out of My Pub. It's an EastEnders quote. We find a pub, basically. We don't buy it, but we find one. Much to Horia's dismay. And then not Wednesday, it'll be the day after that, we'll have some Dark Chronicle videos. One's called Stone Tea, and the other one after that is called Sulphur Lake. And I'm not too sure if these 2 episodes has this new format that I'm trying to introduce, where I'm trying to cut out all the walking bits and just keep in some certain parts. So it's very heavily edited, but not quite as not all edited. It's just more edited than when it was. So let me know what you think of these, if it is these ones, which I think it is. And then we'll have a pointing episode for Fable 2 called Bowerstone 2. I do the rest of Bowerstone, Old Bowerstone. Is that right? Yeah, it is. And that's basically, I'll walk around there doing it. And then after that, we'll have a Dark Chronicle video. One's called Gundron Anatomy. We try to break down why the Gundrons have evolved the way they have. Remember, they're like the dragony things that hold the orbs. We try and work it out. And we'll also have another one called Spare Parts, which I believe is about the Ride Pod. I'm not too sure. Then we'll have a pointing episode for Dark Chronicle called Vernecchio Pointing, where we go around Vernecchio collecting all the point pictures and stuff. You know how it is. And then we'll have another pointing episode called Oakfield, because we do the Oakfield in Fable 2. And we'll have a Fable 2 episode after that called Ahead of the Game, because we get ahead of the game in a certain way. Anyway, right, so let's carry on then. We'll go now on to the community section. So Mention Monday, these are the people that commented on last week's videos. Let me just move my keyboard because it's blocking my mouse, so I can't move down my list. So we thank Max Ravage, Horia, Vathorst, Overlord Master, Bernard Tamir, Patricia Robinson, Captain RH, Noah Silk, and Zach Luke Phipps. Thank you all for commenting. I hope I said some of them right. Some of those names I could not quite read properly. I had to pause and have a little look at them, see if I can work it out. But hopefully I got them right. Anyway, Q&A. Let's go on to that now then, shall we? So, Vathorst says, I have a question. Do you speak... 1 second. Or do you have any interest in a foreign language? Vathorst speaks Dutch. which means he speaks Dutch, English, and a little German. I do have interest in speaking different languages. I was forced to learn different languages as a child, so as a response to that, I have always been negative towards learning foreign languages. Like, I've never enjoyed it. But luckily, I am now a bit older now, so now I've sort of grown away from that disdain from learning different languages, and now I'm actually more interested in it. Particularly, I do want to start some soon. I would like to start with Italian, but I feel like French might be more useful for me as in terms of practicality. But I'd always love Italy, so it's going to be one of those first. But yeah, I would like to try and learn some when I get to it. So yes, is your answer. I have shown an interest. But obviously in the past it was forced upon me, so I had disdain towards it. Overlord Master says, what phone do you have, and what opinions do you have for looking for a good mobile phone? I personally have an iPhone because they're just easy to use. You know, it's never done wrong by me, and it always seems to work. I mean, I was quite late coming to the iPhone and smartphone series. Because before I got an iPhone, like the latest iPhone at the time, before I got that, I had an old phone. Like, I think it just had colour. So I had a big leap in technology. But yeah, love it. I use it more for stuff that you don't particularly use a phone for, which is obviously odd. But that's, you know, I recommend an iPhone because I think they're so much easier than like other phones, such as a BlackBerry. And subscribers now then. So last week we were at 1,375, and this week we're at 1,377. We've gone up 2 names, but we welcome 1 new name to this week to the community. We welcome Yogscast_fan_14. So yes, I'm a big fan of the Yogscast as well. More so in the past I was. Now I feel like they're probably a little bit more based towards a lower age demographic. But I do still enjoy stuff, particularly recently the Yog Tower vlogs. I've been loving them. Like, that's just the business side of stuff, and I love that. I love a bit of business, me. Right, question. Last week's question was, what do you think about the 45-minute 40-minute videos? We have 2 responses this week. Actually, why not just move my document across my screen so it's on the other side so I can see it a lot easier. I'm a fool. Bernard Tamir says, you already keep out a lot of cutting out the grinding, getting the money and stuff in Dark Chronicle. So he doesn't agree that sometimes cutting out everything, it'll be nothing left. Where's the bit about where is it? I'm trying to find it. I will see how it is going to work out in the trials I'm doing, which is happening this week. I don't think it is a good thing to have big content drops, yes, especially if I'm like delayed or late, which I do agree with, and I think I've decided not to do that. So basically you're saying, basically confirm, saying yes to what I was saying about the big content drops. But particularly at the moment, I'm behind, so I'm putting up everything I've got. Once I've caught up with this, I'm not going to do a backlog similar to the Couple Adventure stuff. If I miss a date, I'll just start again on the Monday, so that we don't have big content drops like this, because I feel like it's a bad way to go. So that's obviously going to happen soon, but obviously that's only going to happen once I've caught up, because I've already got all these backlog of footage to put up. So once I've done that, we'll never have a big content drop again, because that's obviously a bad idea. And Captain RH pretty much agrees with most of the stuff as well, saying he agrees with me that the content drop sometimes feels like it's overwhelming to catch up with a series, or makes it more difficult to start with an older series, which I do think is a good idea. And with the psychological thing about having longer videos but less of them, it looks a lot less when you look at all the thumbnails and stuff. So that's what I'm going to do. I think that's a good idea to do. So that's what I'm going to stick with. Right, this week's question is about concerning the commentary and what I comment on when I'm playing a game. Something I've been looking at big at the moment. Like, I think everything else is sorted. The only thing I'm trying to work out now is what to say. I've seen like accents do play a big part in this. Like Jacksepticeye is obviously very Irish, and then a lot of people that I watch usually have very clear accents as well. Like Welsh is a particularly popular one, because it's just a smooth accent. It's really easy to understand. Now, I have a very bad accent. I have a dirty English one. It's like, it's like this, innit? You like cut out the T's and stuff like water. It's obviously not the best. So, I'm saying that, but like saying from someone with that accent, so it's probably not. It's a bit biased, I suppose. But the main thing is like, what do you want me to? What should I talk about? Like at the moment, I'm thinking about actually talking about what's going on in the world, rather than like things that are not related to the game. That's what I'm sort of thinking of. But I wanted to sort of get your opinion as well. Like, what do you think I should talk about in terms of content? Like, do you think I should comment on things that are actually happening, or do you think I should talk about things outside of the actual game? Like, what do you think is best, and what do people you watch usually say, and what do you prefer, and what do you think is best? Yeah, that's this week's question. Bit of a long-winded one, but that is the question. Right, what's next? Look at the list. This week's theme. Right. So this week's theme goes to... I'm going to have to bring it up, actually, because I didn't write it down. Here we go. Goes to a few people. Goes to Horia, Max Ravage, and then myself as well. Basically, Horia said Hob problem. Just talking about Hobbs. He's putting Hobbs in terms of other words. This came from a problem called Hob problem, which it was from. Then Max replied with, this is Hobless. Horia said Hob, you have a nice day. I said, oh, for Hob's sake. And then Horace says he thinks it'll become a tradition with the Hob. I hope this will become a tradition, but it's I Hob. And basically so on and so forth. So that's why it's this week's theme, because it's starting a new tradition, replacing words with Hob. I Hob you. Right, so now we'll go on to goals. So it was a fail last week, unfortunately, so I get up on Sunday. Didn't work. So I was ready, I just didn't do it, and I don't know why. I think I was just having a lazy day. But anyway, this week's goal is get up by Saturday, because I can do it now, because I can work on Saturdays, but it's less hours, so I can actually get that done if I wanted to, which is what I'm going to do. And that's that then. So last week's film, what was it? Let me have a look back. I can't remember too well, but I shall look now. Here we go. Sometimes all you need is 20 seconds of insane courage. It's from a film called We Bought a Zoo, which I really enjoyed. It's a really nice little film. There's a few weird things in it when he has hallucinations, and it's like, what is the point of that? But yeah, it's a good film. I love that. Really good, nice little touch, heartwarming film. But that is it for this week, so I'll finish this cup of tea. And I'll leave you now with what film? Worrying usually means you suffer twice.